name's Rachel, and today we're going to be talking about feelings, about big feelings. Now, I know sometimes that's easy. We can enjoy talking about big feelings. We can even be okay talking about difficult feelings, but sometimes that is not okay. And I just want to give you permission right now. If you are not in the mood to be talking about feelings, then why don't you save this for later? Because sometimes we can already be feeling maybe a bit upset, maybe a bit overwhelmed, maybe a bit stressed out, and we just think this is the last thing I want to be talking about. I get it. So if you want to, you can pause this now and you can save it for another time. That is absolutely okay. Speaking of being okay, here is our big idea for today. The big idea is it's okay to not be okay. The things that make you not feel okay might be bad, but your feelings aren't. Even in a single day, our emotions can change a lot. So yeah, our feelings can change a lot. I'd say that sometimes my feelings go up and down, all different feelings in just 1 hour. Easily that can happen. Sometimes it's really important to track when those things change. So I'm going to show you an activity now that you can do with your grown-up or by yourself, and then talk about it with your grown-up afterwards, that kind of tracks when you're feeling certain ways and why. And it's really important to think about this, because sometimes you might notice, oh, every time I'm doing this thing, it makes me feel this way. And then you might be able to make some changes that might help you. So I'm going to show you what to do, and then I'll have a little chat about my graph as well. So you'll grab a piece of paper and do this big L shape. On the line going up at the top, you'll do a smiley face and a sad face at the bottom. Neither of these are right or wrong, they're just feelings. Along the bottom, you're going to mark different points in the day or in the week. So it could be getting up. The next thing could be, I don't know, playing with friends maybe. Then it could be coming home and reading a book. And the next thing could be bedtime. You're going to mark how you feel at those different points just by putting a cross. You don't have to be really accurate. So you might feel a bit grumpy when you wake up, and then feel really nervous before you go and hang out with your friends, but then have such a great time. You're feeling really happy. You're reading, you're feeling calm, but then you're a bit annoyed that you have to go to bed, but it's not too bad. It's fairly relaxing. And then you join those marks together and you get to see the pattern of your emotions during the day. Here's mine for this morning. So let's rub that one out. And I woke up feeling, well, really, really grumpy. Before I had my cup of tea, I did not feel good. I felt a little bit better afterwards, and then I wrote down some ideas that I had about something that made me feel really, really good. Then I had to get myself dressed and everyone else dressed, and it did not go well. We got on the bus because we were heading off to Forest School, and things started feeling really good until we got to Forest School and my son bumped his head, and he wasn't allowed to stay in case he was poorly. And so that made us feel a little bit down, but then we had an adventure that included chocolate cake, so we were okay. But look at this, look at the way that my feelings are going up and down during the day. Those ups and downs are totally normal, but it's a good challenge to graph out your feelings over the last few days, see if you can spot any patterns. Anyway, now it's time for a brain break. Yep, it's time for a brain break. Brain break. Try and say that 3 times really fast. That is tricky. We're going to rest our brains a little bit. We're not going to completely switch them off because obviously we use them all the time, but we're going to move our body a little bit. I'm going to give you a verb and then an adverb. So the verb is a doing word. It could be walk, which my son is doing behind me. And your adverb could be excitedly. So you would walk excitedly. Okay, are you ready? They're all to do with emotion, so that's a bit of a clue about what's to come. Okay, I want you to run joyfully. I'm going to do it too. Are you ready to run joyfully, Evan? Yes! Okay, now I want you to yawn sadly. Next, I want you to tap someone's shoulder impatiently. I'll talk to you in a moment, okay? Next thing I want you to do is swim, just pretend, angrily. So angry at this water. Next one, jump shyly. Can you jump shyly? Let's have a go. That one was tricky. Last one, I want you to dance. Have we done sadly yet? Dance sadly. You ready to dance? Really sadly. Okay, if you want to, you can have a go at that with your friends and with your family. See what other verbs and adverbs to do with emotions that you can do. But let's sit down now. We've got a story coming. The story is called Enzo's Egg, and it's got a lot of pictures in, but that doesn't mean that it's just for little ones like Eben. It's actually full of some really tricky things. So as you're listening to it, also look, because you're going to see some information in the pictures that will help you. This story is full of metaphors. Metaphors are when you say something is something else. And it might not actually literally be that, but it helps you understand more about it. It gives you a picture almost of what that is like. So the metaphor in here is all to do with an egg. But that's all I'm going to tell you. You sit down and enjoy and listen. So yes, this is Enzo's Egg by Twinkl Originals. Enzo's egg was a space just for him. It was a place where he found himself when there were lots of noisy people. When he wanted to shout or cry, or when he needed time to reflect. Recently, Enzo had needed the egg more and more. It was where he wanted to be, so he decided to stay for a while. The people who loved Enzo were worried about him. They tried to help, but they weren't sure how. One day, Nonna delivered a toy to distract him and a card to cheer him up. But it didn't cheer Enzo up for long. The following week, Enzo's cousin Matteo started to ask him lots of questions. But Enzo didn't know the answers. On a Monday, his mom tried to come inside. But that day, Enzo wanted to be alone. "Isn't it time you stepped out?" Uncle Noah asked one Saturday. But Enzo didn't feel ready to step out. Enzo's friend Sarah thought that he might want to be left alone, so she stopped coming round to see him. This made Enzo feel worse. However, there was one person who seemed to understand exactly how to help Enzo. Tess knew that his egg needed to stay intact. So nothing happened for a while. Nobody tried to come inside. Nobody tried to make any holes. Nobody tried to force Enzo to come out of his egg. The egg was given time to heal, with Enzo inside. Yet he didn't feel alone. When Tess was around, Enzo felt included. She always invited him to be part of the game, even when he didn't feel like having fun. By being patient, Tess was able to make him feel welcome without forcing him to join in. When Tess was around, Enzo felt listened to. She always invited him to be part of the conversation, even when he didn't have much to say. By listening to him, Tess was able to follow his lead. They chatted when he wanted to chat and shared some quiet time when he didn't. When Tess was around, Enzo felt supported. She always encouraged him to be honest about how he felt, even when he didn't know how to express himself. It wasn't always easy. Some days were harder than others, but by not giving up, Tess gave Enzo the freedom to feel all of his different emotions. When Tess was around, Enzo knew he was surrounded by friends, even when he felt withdrawn. By setting an example to others, Tess was able to show Enzo that his friends and his life were always there waiting for him whenever he was ready. No matter how long it took, Tess was always there. Her friendship meant that Enzo knew it was okay for him to stay exactly where he was, for as long as he needed to. One day, he reached out. Another day, he watched. When he was ready, he stepped out, before stepping back in again. Then, after a while, Enzo stayed out of the egg for longer and longer. until Enzo realised that outside of the egg was where he wanted to be. So he decided to stay for a while, but he always kept a little piece of the egg with him, just in case he needed to go back inside again one day. A little while later, Enzo noticed that Tess wasn't herself. Enzo didn't need to know or understand exactly what Tess was feeling to be able to help her. He thought back to how Tess had supported him, and he knew just what to do. He was patient with Tess, giving her the time she needed. He listened to Tess, following her lead. He supported Tess, carrying her with him, but never forcing her to join in. He showed Tess that she was loved, that he would never give up on her, and that he would always be her friend. Look at these pictures and decide how Enzo is feeling. Is he overwhelmed, angry, calm, bored, upset, frustrated, or anxious? Remember, it's okay to not be okay. However, it's also okay to need help to start feeling okay again. So we're going to think about now how Tess was a helper in this situation and how we can be helpers too when people that we love and care about aren't okay. I'm going to just ask some questions and I just want you to think about them. Maybe later you can come back to this, you can pause and you can chat about it. So in the first picture, she's just sat there doing nothing. Or is she? What do you think? In this next picture, she's just carrying the egg. What does that mean to carry someone when they're not feeling okay? And in the last picture, she's comforting him, isn't she? She's got her arm around him. She's making sure he's okay. I wonder what ways we can comfort someone. And here's a tricky thing. How do you comfort someone if they don't like hugs? So in these next two pictures, we've got them at a picnic. I wonder if he invited her or she invited him. And I wonder if it was her inviting him, how many times she invited him to something and he said no. Why do you think it might be important to keep on inviting someone? And what type of places might be best to invite someone who's not feeling okay? And in this next place, next picture, the egg is starting to crack. And because she's been there the whole time, she was ready for him. I wonder, how do you think it might feel to be ready to break out of that egg and have no one there? It's really important, isn't it, to be present with people for when they're ready to talk about whatever it is that they're having a hard time with. You've done some amazing listening. I'm really proud of you because these are big things to talk about, and I hope they're going to cause you to have lots of discussions with your grown-up about how you might feel and how we can help other people. There's 3 things I want you to go away with. I've put them at the side here so you can read them with me. First of all, it is not okay that bad things happen. It sucks. It's really horrible. And because of that, it is okay to not feel okay. It's okay to feel bad sometimes. And the last one, and this is really important, it's okay to ask for help. In fact, it's brilliant to ask for help because who knows, maybe next time you might be the one who's able to give the help. Thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed chatting to you about this. I'm going to go and enjoy some of this sunshine now that the rain is stopped, because that's one way that I feel better when I'm maybe not feeling okay. I hope you have a great week. Whether you feel okay or not okay, that's okay. So I will see you soon.